This episode is for all the brokers and maybe even some of you team leaders who are ready to attract the right agent to your specific brokerage or even team model.
Yeah, join us today on the Wandering But Not Lost podcast.
You've reached the WB&L Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. And now your hosts, Jan O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Well, welcome everyone to the WB&L Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. This is episode 282. You can find all of those show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. Jan O'Brien, how do you attract the perfect agent? I think that everyone wants to know the answer to that question, I would think, right?
And I think we're going to cover that in great detail today. And I think it's going to start with understanding what is your brokerage model and which kind of agent, what is the characteristics of the agent that would want to be attracted to your brokerage. Right. So that is really what we're going to cover today. And honestly, two things. This is an episode for brokers, small brokers, any size brokers, even team leaders that want to build into becoming kind of a small brokerage within their brokerage. For you, if you already exist. It's also for you if you are thinking about doing that. Do you want to start a team? We're going to focus more on brokers today, but there's definitely some crossover for teams here, because we're going to focus mostly on the different types of brokerages, the common types of brokerages that are out there, so we can then discuss what kind of agent would be attracted to that type of brokerage. Because the whole key here for this episode is, once you're clear about who you are and what you're all about and how you're different than other brokerages, then you can start visualizing the type of agent that you want to attract to you. So they're going to be attracted to what you have to offer. So part of the challenge, I think, that a lot of brokers and teams are maybe having in recruiting is not having this part done, not being clear about it. And then you've got to have it put together in such a way that you can articulate that across all the ways that you're going to attract and recruit people. So we're going to help you if you're thinking about starting a brokerage or a team, if you already have one. And we're just focusing today on the types of brokerage models, what kind of agents are attracted to that, and then help you with, now that you're clear about who you are, what makes you different, what do you do with that information so that you can set it up and start using it in your recruiting efforts? And in a future episode, we can talk about what are the best ways to attract people now that you're really clear what your message is.
How you message that belief that you once you know what you are. And it's kind of interesting, Jan. If you are a real estate agent out there, new to the business, or even someone that's even looking to switch companies, there's a very good chance you might not know all the opportunities that are out there.
Hey, that's a great point. You learn. So if you're an agent listening, there's something in it for you today too.
Absolutely, there is.
In episode 282.
280.
So we want to jump into that and off we go. Yeah. So I just think I said that. I think I did that really well, and I didn't even see my notes.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much
wow. Okay, so there it is, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not, if you're listening, everything I just said was kind of written down on a slide.
And then once again, these will all be in the show notes over at WB.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a lot of great notes on it. So let's just jump in with the classic one that most people think about right away in a traditional brokerage. And what we mean by a traditional brokerage, it could or could not be a franchise. The franchise is coming up here in a minute. A lot of traditional brokerages are franchises, but this is a traditional split company. So it could be an independent, could be a brokerage. This is a company that generally offers tools and training and things that what they believe agents want. And they're going to be on a split structure of some sort that could, it's going to vary based on the part of the country, because I find that depending on the part of the country, there are still some parts of the country where the broker really keeps a good company dollar. But I think that's getting squeezed more and more as time goes by. So that's really the definition of what we mean by a traditional brokerage. Just think a split company. You're on some kind of split when you start. Generally depends on whether or not you are, if you're a broker listening, you got me thinking about it as an agent. You're looking for agents of all levels. You may have, even within your traditional brokerage, maybe you don't really take on new agents. Maybe you do. New agents are going to start on a lower split, and then they're going to move up a split. That's generally what happens in those kind of brokerages.
It's interesting too, Jen. I think that there was a push there for a long time, or there was a thought for a long time there that 100% companies were going to push all traditional brokerages right out of business, and they certainly have not. Right? There's a space for everybody in the field,
really is.
because there is such a different need for different types of agents. So there's just, there's plenty of business for all the realtors, right? You know what I mean? Because it's the business out there, and there's room for any type of brokerage too. So don't think if you're on one brokerage track that you need to all of a sudden switch because you're seeing something that has a nice shiny bell and whistle to you while they're so.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the benefits, Jan O'Brien.
Yeah, and so I kind of hit it a little bit there in the beginning, which was it's all about support, right? So support on all levels. So an agent that will go here maybe doesn't want to be on their own, maybe does want office space. A lot of times traditional brokerages have office space. They want to have support staff. I mean, most companies have a lot of that, but they're looking for training, marketing materials, and they're willing to give up a portion of their commission split because they don't want to have to go pay for those things. That's where a big differentiator is going to come up when we talk about 100%, even though there are 100% companies that offer some of those things. So this is really what those benefits are. So who's the agent really that is attracted to this? Is the new agent, generally new and newer agents that need that support and mentorship, and experienced agents who want that full service approach. So I think a lot of times about sometimes the higher end companies, like just a stark example, a lot of people will want to work luxury and they want to be with a luxury brand like Sotheby's, for example. Why? And they're okay with being on a split because there's name recognition. A lot of times with traditional brokerage and or a franchise brokerage, which is I think next or coming up after 100%, there will be name recognition, which the agent feels and the broker feels, that's why they're with it,
sure,
that the client wants that. Okay, and that to me, the high end is a good example of that. And generally, there are really some great tools in marketing and partnerships that a company like Sotheby's, and there are others, and sometimes even regional ones, that are providing those tools that would cost the agent a lot of money. Okay, so that's very unique. That depending on your marketplace, that you may have more things that other companies don't have. That then and the whole point of this episode today is, if that's you're not going to attract the person who's looking for the 100% commission.
Right, exactly.
Is okay with being on their own and doesn't need what you have to offer. So that's what we're trying to walk through the differences here, okay?
Yeah,
so,
know who you are and then own it, right? Know who you are and own it. So, and be able to communicate it.
So some variation of that. Now we switched to the other end of the spectrum in the 100% commission brokerages, which really started out here in the Arizona area. We're in the West. Matt and I are in, he's in California, I'm in Vegas. And there are a plethora of 100% models that are all over the West, but they're everywhere now, okay? And our previous company, Realty One Group, is a perfect example of that, of a company that really wanted to be different in the way they did the 100% with offering more traditional. They kind of blended, and they still have a lot of the traditional brokerage things that are built in, right? So the 100% commission attracts the person, but not all 100% companies are equal. There are lots of 100% companies that, and I'll say Realty One Group maybe is over here on one side of the spectrum, meaning they offer a lot, versus a lot of 100% companies are nothing more than a place that you're on your own, you're okay with that, you've got a broker, there's maybe an office, it might be virtual, there might be an office space, and you pay a desk fee, you pay a monthly fee rather, and then you pay a transaction fee. So you get to keep 100% of your commission if you pass the transaction fee on to your clients, which you can do that in most states if you call it an additional commission. Okay, so it is really established, I think, more for the established client bases. Most 100% companies do not provide training.
Right.
Again, I go back to Realty One Group because they are kind of there's other 100% companies that are doing a little more of that. But they really do have a lot of the things that, they are a blend of the two. They just changed their model a little bit over the years where they are collecting a little bit more on their transaction fee. So they're certainly not the cheapest, but they still have that model where if you choose to pay that transaction fee, that'll come out of your 100%. If you're allowed, you can pass it on and the client accepts it, then you really are making 100% and then you're paying a monthly fee.
I dare say if you had to really come up with this one word to describe Realty One Group, I would think you would call it the unbrokerage.
Yeah, they're the unbrokerage.
There you are.
Honestly, that's what Kuba wanted, and he's got it, man. And they are, to their credit, they are all over the place, man.
Absolutely.
They are growing internationally, nationally, and there's something going on there, okay? So,
but getting back to your point, I would say you're probably right that they are on the far end of that spectrum. Still 100%, technically, right?
Mhm.
But other 100% companies are attracting that more self-motivated agent, right? That agent that really
Yeah, and I have to
can
tell
do
you,
their own thing.
I feel that's where I am. All the years being a broker,
Right.
this is just Jan O'Brien coming into the golden years of my of my real estate career, actively selling real estate. That's why I'm with a 100% company in both of Florida and in Nevada. I just don't have the need or desire at this point in my career to be in any of these other models.
Right.
It worked for me. I've been a broker. I'm this perfect person. I'm the person who's experienced, who prefers, more independence. I want to have, and I'm speaking for a lot of people. If you're a 100% company listening, I'm your perfect agent in a way, okay? Unless you have a training program and you're okay with that. But the majority of you don't, is you want someone who wants to have the autonomy to work, to be able to kind of co-create and brand with you, and have my broker there when I need them. If I can't handle it, I've had the experience as a broker. Not everybody has, but I call on my brokers when I need some support or help. I want to be able to get paid on time. I want to know that support is there. I want to know that I can count on them. I want to know that their E&O is going to cover me.
Exactly.
That's what I need. I have access to an office if I want it, but I don't use it really. That's it. That's kind of what the 100% person is, kind of like the business person within the business.
Right.
That's
I was
not
going to
really,
say, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but this is a home, a lot of times it's more suited for.
All right. So that 100% can have changes within it too, but that's kind of where that one's at if you're 100%. Now, franchise brokerage is what we'll just add to this is just another layer of two things. Additional tools and support, but what comes with it is an additional fee, right? So a franchise brokerage is going to come in and help if you're thinking about joining, starting your own company or going as an independent. You sometimes talk to the franchises and they come in and they do a great job telling you all the things that they have. And it's great if they can deliver on all those things. And not all franchises are created equal, in my opinion. So it's the brand recognition. We talked about it on the first one, right? Extensive training. So you might have local training. You might have our training, which is, by the way, if you need a training program, that's something that we have. And we actually have a whole certification of how it will train your trainers so that you can have a training program in case you don't have one. Because the training that comes with the franchises might have some core basic training in it, but it has a lot of the other branding training in it too, and national marketing efforts. So you're going to get all these things that the franchise brings. And that can be, again, if you are a franchise for a reason, then you brokers that I'm talking to right now, you joined a franchise for the reasons that they sold you on.
Right.
That is the same reasons an agent would want to join your franchise. It could be your market position in your area. It could be your just overall branding. People want that. So you can't worry about the person who wants to go to an independent boutique brokerage or the person that wants 100%, because that's not your person.
Right.
Your person is someone who wants these things. So you have to own it, right? So it's really for all agents could be attracted to this, but they have to want to be part of the franchise and be okay with the fee structure because they see the benefit in. A lot of times, some of these large franchise companies have a referral network, for example. You could become part of the relocation team. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of other levels of things that could be happening in that model that an agent would be attracted to. So you just have to be clear about what those things are. And that's, again, what you're going to be recruiting to, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So we got those three down, which brings up boutique brokerages, which I love too. I think of Paul Holub in Texas, who has been through franchises and built a team. And he decided to go, he's the epitome of just creating, and he may just even be he may be even something, if you're listening, Paul, unless you really are going to grow the brokerage a little bit more, you just decided to become your own broker independently. And it may not be about, which is awesome, hiring a whole bunch of agents, because you just want to run your business as a business on your own and be an independent. But it can grow into a boutique brokerage, which you can just simply think, I think that name is kind of interesting and odd, but it can be, in a way, it could be niche, right? It could be like a market niche. So I think about where Matt lives, and there's a lot of boutique brokerages that kind of are coastal properties, that handle little unique areas that are certain types of homes, or they're known for this or that, and they're smaller. And there could be, agents that's what they want. They want to be part of a smaller kind of, I don't want to say exclusive, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's just, what would you add to that?
Yeah, well, no, I don't. Yeah, It is. I think it is about exclusivity, right? It's like we are the absolute dominant experts in this particular area, especially around the coast. Because you're right, all up and down Newport Coast and up and down, actually the whole coast of California.
Yeah.
There's tiny little brokerages, but I think that boutique brokerages also are that word boutique is a little bit of a misnomer too, because it doesn't mean you only have to have 5 agents. You can be a boutique agency. I don't know. Where would you put Chance Brown, CB&A? Where would you classify them?
I definitely feel he just fits into this independent broker. That is, but he's got, I believe he's 100%.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's like there are situations where there's like little morphs of all of these as well.
Yeah, again, he's kind of like took the Realty One Group idea and then just turned it into more of a local, not trying to be big,
Right, exactly.
So yeah, close-knit community, personalized support, very unique marketing strategies. That's really the benefits there for a boutique, or maybe we create a new word for it, but everybody understands that word.
Yeah, they do.
So it's going to attract the agent who wants that local strong brand identity, not a national connection necessarily. Sometimes those high-end companies that I'm thinking about, the coast of Orange County and so forth, have they may be part of the Leading Edge. What was that thing called? The Leading Edge International. It's an independent. It's a relocation network for independent brokers. They'll have some of those companies will have different things that a franchise brokerage offers. There are ways to get it as an independent. So that boutique is an independent. They don't belong to a franchise, and they are they've got something unique going on, and they generally don't want a ton of agents. They want the right agents, right? So if that's you, you know what it is, and you might be going after a handful, but Matt's right. It's not just 5 people or 10 people. It could be whatever you want it to be, but they have to fit into your little close-knit world. Okay.
Right. Yep.
The virtual cloud-based brokerage, that became a big popular thing. I guess the big one you think of is EXP right now, which falls into one of the other models that's coming up. But and there's a lot of these that are out there. I think there's some pros and cons to that, personally, but it's supposed to be the whole cloud-based thing is all about technology forward, technology first, virtual collaboration. EXP really got things going with that whole come to the classroom in the cloud. You have an avatar and all that. Might have some lead generation, and they may have a platform that manages all your business, and they have some of those tools for you, right? So, and those could be 100. There's a lot of 100% cloud-based businesses out there. Yeah. So that you are seeing a blending, to your point, Matt, right? Mm-hmm. of the morphing of a couple of these to maybe even come up with the person who wants the 100% concept. With the whole, I don't need an office, which cuts expenses, which allows things to be less expensive for the agent. And the one thing to go back to 100% for a minute, and I would say with this, depending on what your split structure is, brokers, is if you're a 100% company, the only way to really, unless you are personally the producer, broker, or team leader, the only way you're really making money is recruiting people who are paying you that monthly fee and closing deals to pay you a transaction fee,
right,
or whatever your fee structures are. Because if you're giving 100% commission, okay, there's always fees related. You're not going to be very profitable. We know we did this. Matt and I did this, and for most places around the country, that was part of what I did with our previous company and helping them initially expand. Just depend on the area, but generally about 50 people to 100 people is where the break even was for most brokers. If they had overhead, if they had an office, depending on if you have an office, if you're this one, so maybe you don't need 50 people to be profitable because you don't have an office. You may have, you may have a Regency suites or something that you can have people can go into and so on. But so it's just a whole different animal. Okay. And again, who are you going to attract for that? It's the tech savvy agents who want that flexibility, who are okay remotely, who do not need to come into an office, who want to be able to get a hold of somebody when they need them, but they just want to be able to hang their license somewhere and have the level of support that they're, you got to provide some level of support no matter which one of these that you're doing as a broker.
Wouldn't you agree, John, that these also this brokerage concept kind of not jumped the shark, but maybe came in a little bit too early, because I think they were thinking, they were already giving you that vision that we're not going to be, people are not going to ever need to see a house, and everything is going to be done online, and you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And where a lot of that does happen now, but it has not taken over the industry like I think a lot of people thought it was going to sooner than it probably.
I think you're right. And when it started, but one thing to add to that is that I think that there was an underestimation of how people really do want to go into an office, even though they might not go in all the time. The agent, there was a little pushback on that.
Yep.
That's why they went to Regency Suites and some of these different companies. But the reality is COVID really helped a lot of people realize, a lot of brick and mortar company realize. This is why there's been a lot of consolidation of office space, that people don't really want to, they think they want to come in the office, but yet they don't. So now you have companies trying to figure out, how do we get people, just like all companies, how do you get people to come back? They all fell in love with the remote working, setting their schedule and doing what they want, which real estate agents have always done anyway, right? So
right, exactly.
So it's an interesting. So the flat fee brokerage is, another. It can be. It kind of falls into the nothing changes with what the fees are, the structure, but I feel like it's still a kind of another variation of 100% model, to be honest, because there's no variation in the way your structure works. It's like you pay this much per transaction. You don't slide around on anything. A lot of 100% companies still work this way, and you are getting your commission after you pay whatever the fee structure is. So maybe it's a higher fee structure. So the flat fee, it doesn't make a lot of sense for brokers that we're saying here on high value transactions. Maybe there's a structure that goes for the sales price and you know what that is.
Right.
And that's how it always works. It's not a percentage, or maybe it's a flat amount. So I don't think you see this as much. I think most of these have been morphed into 100%.
I was going to say this is definitely the lesser of all of the models out there, for sure.
Yeah, and so it's just high volume agents. But again, I think high volume agents. Okay, so not necessarily high sales price. High volume agents. Right. There could be in a flat fee. You could see caps on some of these flat fees, which again, a lot of 100% companies have that. If you're a high volume agent closing 100 deals a year, there may be a company that would have, no matter how many deals you do, the structure is a smaller amount, but you don't see as many of those as anymore. If anything, you see, you pay this structure, you get 100%, for example, or you might be in a traditional brokerage too. If you're a high volume person, they're going to work with you. You're not going to have to give up 10% of your commission or 20% of your commission. They'll usually have some kind of cap, which I think actually is going to come up soon. Okay?
Yeah, it will. Right after this one, we have cap.
Team models. So team models within brokerages, this is definitely, I think, smart. Okay. If you are a broker that supports teams, then you're going to, because if you go back and look at our series that we did on starting a brokerage, or even talking about teams in the past, we've done some things on, do you want to start your own? It was really in the brokerage. I was addressing, in my thoughts, you're a person and wants to build a team, and you're thinking, I just don't want to do it with another broker.
Right.
I honestly feel there are a lot of benefits as a team leader being in the right brokerage for you. So you can focus on the part you like, unless you want to go be an independent broker and take on the risk and build and have to handle the admin and what model you're going to use and all that. But if you don't, you can just be this team leader within a brokerage that supports you financially, has a model that works for everybody, has training that your agents could go through, handles all the check cutting and the problems, and the E&O and the admin, and provides space. Okay. Now you pay for that. You may make more money if you did it on your own, but you might not. So that's part of why I think the team model within a brokerage is the way to go. As if you're sitting here, if you're listening today, we wanted to be able to talk to people that are thinking about building a team, starting a team, and or starting a brokerage. So you may be the person that wants to just do what we just said, be in a company that supports teams. And then the ideal agent for brokers and you, the team leader that's inside of that brokerage, is, let me start with the team leader. Your value proposition is what you have as a team, in addition to what that brokerage has. Mm-hmm. So that brokerage, you're offering support, you're offering whatever leads or training or coaching or whatever your niche is, you're providing all that tools. Then you're inside a brokerage that has another level of tools and training, this is why I think it's smarter to be in a good supporting team brokerage model, right? A company that supports teams. And then if you're the agent, if you're the broker rather, that is supports teams in whether you're traditional, I think it's easier You'd have to have really high split structures, I think, for teams to really want to be attracted to work with you. The 100% concept really works well with teams. Then you've got to be clear about what you're going to do to attract teams. So your recruiting efforts have to be about, we are team friendly. Let us do all the heavy lifting. You do the part you do best, which is go out and sell real estate and help your agents sell real estate. And then I think that is just really powerful. So agents, there are a lot of agents that want to be on teams. There are a lot of agents that don't want to go out and do it on their own. They want that team environment. So there's a lot of benefit for brokers listening to be team friendly if that's in your value proposition, and then be very specific that you recruit both agents and teams.
Right.
Okay. So I like that. And then the commission cap model is, I think of Windermere, Keller Williams, of course, is the main one. EXP, of course, folks broke off from Keller Williams and started the EXP model. Now there's a ton of them out there. Those are the top ones. But the commission cap model basically says you start on a split. Generally, it's like 70 or 80%, right? And then you have to hit a threshold of, you give that broker X dollars, and it varies from area to area on the competition, but it could be anywhere from 15 to 20 to 25,000, something like that. Once you've paid that broker that much money, you get to go to 100% for the rest of the year. But then at the end of the year, new year rather, you roll back over to what that starting amount was. Okay. So now this model, really, it's really brilliant when you think about it. If I think back to Keller Williams, Gary Keller starting this, and the kind of agents that they have attracted over the years, the majority of people never cap. So they do this great job. They have great buzz. They have great tools, and it's very rah-rah and come belong here, and we're going to motivate you and train you. And they're great at that. I think EXP is great at that. We have all these things and all these people, and then the reality is, and then there's revenue share, right? There's revenue share mixed in with this in most of these models that added another layer of either ownership, or you can have you get stocks in the company. I mean, there's been so many interesting things that have come out over in the last 10 years, I would say. The reality, so when you recruit, you can make money that way. And I find some challenges with all of that in a way, because I think you either, as an agent, you either have to focus on sales or focus on recruiting. If you try to do both, because you're going to make all this money, because if you recruit, then you're going to make money in a downline, then you're not really mastering one of them. That's just Jan's personal opinion.
Right.
It's all sales. If you're going to go out and talk to people, are you talking to sellers and buyers, or are you talking to agents that are going to join your team? So I love it. There's a lot of people make a ton of money on it, but I feel like it's the people who started early in those models in various areas that were able to get a lot of people on their team, have a nice downline. Now they're making money from that. So that revenue share thing is interesting. But the smart thing from a brokerage standpoint is you have all these tools to attract people. And let's just face it, the average person doesn't cap. So you're always getting this set 30% in an example, or 20% or 25%. And then there's a percentage of people who do. So there's something for everybody in that. But the person who really likes the cap model, I think, and the rev share is kind of it could be a business-minded person who sees that opportunity that this real estate has an exit strategy. So there's a lot of people that will be attracted to that model. You've just got to be, and you're doing it. And if you're a broker who's in one of those models, you did it because of the reasons you joined it.
Right.
So own it. That's the message I'm not trying to say one's better than the other. I'm giving my opinion, my personal opinion, just from the years of what I don't like. Now, if I was younger and that was a new model, I wish, there's parts of me that wish I maybe started in one of those models, but not where I am now in my career. That's just Jan speaking. But for you, and if a cap model is new in your area, it just depends on your area, man, because it's all about the competition, which brings us to the end here, where we're going to be like, what model did you embrace? Which model are you embracing? And if you're thinking about doing this new, you got to look at your competition and do a good SWOT analysis and decide, is there room for another, cap model in this community? Is there room for another RE/MAX or a, Keller Williams or whatever to open up? If I was going to franchise, is there room for an independent? There's always room for something. Okay. And if you're really good at what you do, you'll attract the people. And it just depends. If you want to have 100 to 200 people, I don't know, will your area support that? So I think it's all local. There's not a best one. There is a what's best for you based on what your goals are and what's going on in your community and where is the opportunity. And you bring up Chance Brown as a great example. He saw an opportunity, from leaving a franchise situation to how he could be, and he's doing really well, how he could do it his way, have a 100% model and be community focused and grow in the area that he's in Texas. But he had the foresight to see that, right, and see what he had to do to be different. And then he's attracting the people that he clearly gets the message out through, which is how we could conclude this is once you actually have this clarity of who you are and you embrace it, and every one of those models has complete positives and has an agent. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist, right?
Right.
Those models wouldn't exist and wouldn't have agents if you, the broker, didn't believe in your model. And then it brings this into it. So all those things come with the various models. But I think the key is you. You're the key that keeps it together. It's your leadership, your value system. Oh, yes, we have all these tools because I either did it independently, traditionally, in a CAP model and 100% model and a traditional / or franchise model. You embrace all of that, but you're the key about what it is you want to do and what your intention is of how big you want to be, or if you just want to be a tight-knit 10 group of people, it's all good. So the rest of the story is get the clarity down into a value proposition. And I always use the analogy, Matt, of listing presentation. You all have or have had one in the past. If you're not using it now, you had one. A listing presentation. When you go out to talk to a seller, you have a clear message that you're doing a great job. All of you listening to me that that are successful, that are either brokers and were agents, or you're a successful team leader, or you want to be one, you're going to have a great presentation for buyers and sellers. That's what you have to do for your agent. You have to do the same thing. You have to share what it is you're going to do visually. So whether that be in a little booklet you put together, like I used to be old school, the binder, but now it's all about Canva. And what we had our company, we created a little magazine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We had a magazine that had our entire value proposition and images, what was different about our company. And we had that. And then we used the messaging and drafted everything and posted it all over the place. It was in our videos. It was in our social media. It was on our website. You're constantly letting people know you have a join the team button on your website, and it just doesn't have a form. It needs to actually say, because agents are out looking for brokers to join, and they're looking online.
Yeah.
They're researching local brokerages that do this. Okay. And then they're going and looking at your career page. Do you have a career page? Yeah. So you need one if you want to grow. If you don't want to grow, then don't have a career page. If you're happy with what you've got, but if you're trying to grow, you got to start working on some of those, because you never know where someone's coming from. It could be your own database of people. It could be clients that want to get in the real estate business. There are so many ways to find people that want to join your brokerage. Once you're clear about who you are, what you offer, and who your perfect agent is, now it's all in your messaging. And we'll talk about that in a future episode.
Love it.
There you go. Hope that helped you today. Get a little clarity and have some fun with it and start thinking about. So your homework is, if you choose to, your mission is, if you choose to accept it, and this tape will self-destruct at the end of this, is to actually identify your clear value proposition in your market. Don't worry about the competitors. You're not talking about bad. You never talk bad about anyone else. Nope. There are reasons people go to those other companies. You're going to do the homework to create what is unique, what do you offer, and who's the perfect agent that you're looking for when it comes to values and some of the things that we talked about today. Then when you have that, it's really easy to start messaging it. Okay?
Love it.
All right. There it is, Matt Emerson.
Very good. And if you want to get more information, the slides we had, a lot of our information that we talked about today is all going to be, including a breakdown of the benefits and the value propositions, is going to be over on our show notes. Having a hard time getting the words out today.
Show notes.
Episode 282 on WBNLpodcast.com. So Jen and Brian got a little trip coming up this weekend, right?
I do. I'm going to one of my favorite places in the world, Sedona, Arizona. I get to go to a little retreat that I have been anxiously anticipating for months now.
I'm excited about it.
It's a little cooler than when I normally go, but it's going to be wonderful. I get to do a little hiking, get to do a little, breaking things down, inner work, get clarity, get some fresh air, get up and get out, Matt Emerson, and see all that. I'm going to be
Love it.
excited about it. Can't wait to tell you about it next week.
Looking forward to the report next week, because I think you will come back crystallized in more ways than one.
I could very well be. Hey, and listen, we talked about it today. If you are listening still at the end of this podcast and you are a team leader or a broker or aspiring broker or team leader, and you're like, where do I get started with that? That's what we specialize in at WBNL Coaching. Go on over to that website, WBNLcoaching.com. Learn about the programs that we have for how to build a team called Real Estate Team Builder. We feel like we have one of the finest all-inclusive programs, start to finish, on how to get things up and running and choose the model for you. It could help brokers as well. Includes pieces on recruiting and all that. And then our training program, we really are excited about our training program. I just went back and been looking at our training program again to see where are the updates that we need to make to it. Because once you buy any of our training programs, you have them for as long as we're living. I like to say for life, but for as long as Matt and I are living.
So it's not lifetime, it's our lifetime.
Or it might be whoever we pass it on to, but you don't have to pay for upgrades or updates. And it's very affordable pricing for all our materials. And we're very comprehensive. We have years of experience. We're sharing what works for us. I'm back doing the basics of team building last couple of years successfully and following what it is that we teach. I did it when I went to Florida. I followed the stuff that we taught, and had 10 sales in a year, in a market that I didn't know anything about. So it works if you're focused and you get clear about what you're trying to do. But the thing that we're really happy about right now is our certification program for our sales builder. So that means you can get our sales builder program, partner with us, and yet we have some levels. So just reach out. We'll do a consultation with you, talk about what could work for you, but we can co-brand with you. We just did it with another client where we added all their great materials to our materials. So they have a co-branded training platform. And then we have a complete online training program on how to use our training program and how to run it in your office. We have a coach manual. We put a lot of time into that, and it's all available for you. It's very affordable.
Yeah, including actual marketing pieces to recruit to your program. Yep. So even recruiting is involved in that certification program.
So we're calling out to you. If you've been looking, don't look no further. Just call us. We'll set up a Zoom call. We'll talk it out with you. We'll look at what's happening, and we'll help you get your training program up and running.
Cool. One last thing. If you really have watched this video on YouTube as long as we've been on here for 7 minutes and 28 seconds, if you haven't already, why don't you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell, because we don't want you to miss a single episode.
Yes, and you know what? Now we have one more promotional thing that nobody's probably listening to at the end. We ought to do one of these and then give something away and see if anybody actually listens.
Yeah, we should do that.
To this. But we have a TikTok channel. It's WBNL Coaching, and on our WBNL Coaching Instagram and Facebook, we're posting snippets of this show, little short clips. Mm-hmm. So you can get some of we handpick those clips and put them up. So follow us on those channels. And Matt and I are committed to posting some more content that's going to be a little bit more off the cuff and a little more, coaching, mindset, and so forth as we go. So WBNL Coaching, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Social everywhere.
You trip over yourself and find us all over that place. There you are. All right, everyone.
Get up and get out. I'll be doing that this weekend.
I was going to say, Jen O'Brien's getting up and getting out. That's pretty freaking awesome. So, until next time, live the life you dream. Find your joy, people, and be forever wandering but not lost.
Yes, please.